Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today the subject of my lecture is transformations. Yesterday we discussed these things here, which you can see on my screen as well. Uh, Here we discuss some sentences and we discuss grammar as a machine which generates sentences. Then we discuss structural change, and we also discuss structural description as well. And we talked about standard theory, phonological components, semantic component, surface level, deep structure, lexicon, and we also saw this paradigm as well. We discussed this paradigm in this paragraph, and non-linear models. We looked at linear models as well, and we derived some formulas from the linear models. So today we are going to stretch this topic further, and we are going to complete this topic as well. And the topic is transformations. We said earlier that T rules or transformation rules move, add, or delete constituents in a sentence. Yes, we have already discussed that T rules or transformation rules do these things in a sentence. That is, they add or they delete or they move some constituents in a sentence. First, we must find out if the sentence has got the kind of structure to which rules can apply. So first of all, we should find this thing, that if a sentence has the ability, has such a structure that on which the rules can be applied, this is the structural description, right? We call this structural description, and we discussed this CSD or structural description in the previous lecture, in the yesterday's lecture. If the structure is such that these rules can apply, that we can use the rules. Let us now, if the structure is such that these rules can apply, then we can use the rule. Yes, if we have such a structure that rules can be, on which rules can apply, so it does mean we will use the rules. Let us now study only one transformation, the passive transformation. So we are going to read today this transformation, which is known as the passive transformation. If you understand this T rule, you will not only learn more about T rules, but also about argumentation in linguistics as well. So if you understand this T rule, so you are not going to learn only about T rules, but also about argumentation, the reason behind linguistics as well. Let us then take the passive transformation. We will see how a sentence which states a propositions change into the passive form. Yes, we will discuss an example here, and we will see a proposition, and we will see how this proposition changes into passive form. But before we do that, we will go back to our PS rules, our phrase structure rules. We have covered some of them, but we have not covered the expansion of the auxiliary. Yes, we have discovered a lot of PS rules in the previous lectures, but we didn't see the expansion of auxiliary, right? So auxiliary is related to tense, and tense is normally in present. It can also be in past and past participle, right? So first of all, if auxiliary is a tense, right, it can be a present tense. This is first diagram. This rule simply makes that a verb, for example, walk, must have a marking for tense. Yes, if we have a verb or a word like walk, so it does mean it has a marking for tense, because it is a tense. It shows a present tense. Walk shows a present tense. If it is in the past, that is plus past, we will read it as walked, right? This addition of the morpheme ed inflects the verb for the past. So we use ed. This is inflection, right? And this inflection, this is morpheme, and this morpheme ed inflects the verb, that is walk, for the past tense. If it is in the present tense, that is present, we will read it as walks, right? Yes, if the verb walk is in the present tense, and we have a third person pronoun, we will use it, we will write it like walks. And this is the formula, you can say the diagram for this, for the rules, for the rules which have been explained in this paragraph. Other helping verbs or auxiliaries can be verbs such as will. This will give us the future tense too. Yes, sometimes we have other auxiliaries as well, or modal auxiliaries as well. For example, will, and will here shows the future tense, and such words are called models, and their list includes will, shall, can, would, must, may, might, etc. So another expansion of auxiliary will be, first extension was auxiliary can be tense and it is in present, and then we add morphemes to inflect the verb for past and past participle. And here we have auxiliary, and it from auxiliary we get model as well. So this is another expansion of auxiliary. So let us see yet again another expansion of auxiliary. But whereas all verbs must be marked for tenses, models are not necessary in all verbs. As models are optional, they are put into brackets. Our rule should be read as follows. Should be read as follows. So yes, of course, we have tense, we have verb in a sentence, but we normally do not always have modal auxiliaries in a sentence, right? So we are putting this model in a bracket, right? It shows the optional it shows the optional position of this model verb. So auxiliaries, we have third formula here. Auxiliaries can be expanded into tense and then the optional model. And then we have a sentence that is in the progressive aspect. We show the continuous section, right? He is reading is in the progressive aspect or in the continuous form. It shows that an action is in progress or in the progress phase. Now take the sentence given below. So this action is in progress, and this action they have been reading is in different form. Here what happens? Here the perfect is shown by have. Yes, have shows the perfect sense or the perfect tense, and the en here shows the past participle ending. So en normally denotes past participle ending. Although you do not always use en, sometimes you use ed for the past participle. Still, you will show this past participle with the help of en, right? So here en have shows the perfect sense or the perfect tense. So en shows the past participle ending, right? You will use a past participle after that have. In other words, to show that a verb can be in either the progressive or perfect form, we need two optional elements in the auxiliary. Speakers of English have chosen the following formulas to show these two elements. So here we have the first formula for the progressive sense, that is he is reading. So he is reading, for he is reading we are using be plus ing form. So this is mr, be, is, mr, was, were, etc. can be denoted by be, right? So and progressive tense can be denoted by ing as well. And the perfect tense can be expanded into have plus en. Why? Because have shows the perfect sense here, and en shows the past participle ending of the verb. These formulas are the only ways of showing that in the progressive form there is the verb to be and the ending ing. So yes, these formulas show, or they are the only ways of showing that in the, wherever you have progressive form, you will have the verb like to be, right? And the ending ing. Yes, you will write the progressive tense in this form, to be plus ing. To be is B stands for जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बता दिया, B is MR was were के लिए यूज हो सकता है, और ing of course जब प्रोग्रेसिव टेंस में है तो आप ing यूज करेंगे. So we can say that the progressive verb is like it can be denoted by to be plus ing, and in the perfect tense there is have or has and the ending is en. जैसे कि perfect tense में आप has और have आपके पास होते हैं और एंडिंग उनकी en पे होती है. en लाजमी होती ed पे भी हो सकती है, कहीं भी हो सकती है, लेकिन you will denote that ending past participle की ending होगी, जो third form की ending होगी वो en पे होगी. The formula is somewhat misleading here, since the past participle of read is not formed by adding en. Yes, when you form past participle at the third form of read or even the second form of read, you do not add en. You do not say readden, right? You say you even do not change the spelling. Still, you read it differently. For example, here the past participle is merely read, right? You simply say read. You simply speak it read, but you use the same spelling here. You do not add en. The en in the formula therefore simply means, so when you have en in the formula, so it will simply mean this thing, right? It will simply mean this thing. Make this into the past participle, whatever realization that might have. So it does not matter what is the realization, what the word looks like. So you will just make this word into past participle. You will read it in the past participle form, right? You will use the past participle sense whenever you will see en in the formula. This realization is determined by other rules which give the exact pronunciation of every morpheme. These are called phonemic rules. So this realization for en, so it is determined by other rules as well, so which give the exact pronunciation of every morpheme. So, and this process is known as phonemic rules. Let us now add another optional expansion of auxiliary to our list. So already we have discussed, we have seen 3 expansion of auxiliary. First one is here. This is the first one. This is second expansion, and this is third expansion. And then here we have the fourth expansion. Auxiliary so can be written in this form, can be expanded into be plus ing, that is progressive, and have plus en, that is past participle. You can say that perfect tense, right? So this is the fourth form expansion of auxiliary, and here we have the full expansion of auxiliary. Auxiliary can be shown into, you can use all the forms which you have already discussed in the previous 4 forms, right? You will write tense, and model is optional, and then you have plus en, that is the future tense, and then you have be plus ing, that is the progressive form. So this is the full expansion of auxiliary. So let us discuss the passive formation here. Let us now come to the passive transformation and look at one specific example. So here is an example which shows the passive transformation. First of all, we will discuss the kernel at the deep level, kernel sentence, or you can say the sentence at the deep level, and then we will see how the sentence can be transformed into a surface level or complex level as well. This is the tense, this is the sentence. The man may have opened the door. This is the simple form, the simple sentence. Then we are changing it into passive form. This is the passive form. The door may have been opened by the man. So the structural description for 17, we have discussed this thing, we discussed this passive structural description in the yesterday's lecture, right? So what is structural description of the sentence number 17? It is, first of all, we have noun phrase, and you said that NP1, and then we have auxiliary, right? And then we have opened our verb, you can say, and here the auxiliary is denoted by this may have, and then we have opened, that is verb, and the door is again noun phrase number 2. So this is the structural description of sentence number 17. But what is this? What will be the structural description of sentence number 18, or the or you can say the transformed form of the simple sentence? The T rule given below, which makes the passive transformation, can be applied to this structural description. So let us apply the transformation rules and then see the structural description. So what happens here in the sentence number 18, NP2 यानी जो कि आपके पास पहले सेंटेंस नंबर 17 में NP1 था, वो अभी एंड पे चला गया है, और यहाँ पे जो NP2 था वो स्टार्ट में आ गया. So look at here. First of all, you have NP2, the door, and then you have auxiliary may have, and then you have B plus en. So we have already discussed what is this. The B is a simple, B shows the simple form, is, am, are, was, were, has, have, etc. And then en shows the third form. So it shows that it ends at third form here, and then that is been shows that it is ending at been, of course, is the third form. Be, was, been. It is the third form of be. So here en shows that it is the third form, and open is verb. By has been added as an extra word, or as an extra constituent, and then the man is NP1. Notice that B plus en and by have been added to this rule. Let us now expand this as follows. NP1 and have plus en plus by are added in certain places. So NP1, we have NP1 here, and have plus en, so have plus en, have is as shows the future of the perfect tense, plus en always shows the past participle form, right? Plus by are added in certain places when you are transforming the simple sentences into passive form. This creates a deep level sentence which will be brought to the surface level. So all these things are used at deep level, right? So when you apply these things, and then you bring the sentence into a new form that is at surface level, deep level, or D level. Deep level sentence can be like this: the door present may plus have plus E and B plus E and open by the man, right? So it can be like this at deep level. When you apply the rules, you have a structure, you have a sentence in new form there, and that in the form of surface level. Apply auxiliary invariant rule. Auxiliary is inverted. You invert auxiliary and change auxiliary, and when you apply this auxiliary invariant rule, it is known as affix hopping, and you get something like this: the door may plus present have, present form of have, plus here you use be plus en. Here you have inverted, you have changed the positions of the auxiliary here. Have plus be plus en, open plus again en by the man. So does mean you have changed this form into this form, right? And this form, and this process is known as affix swapping as well, or auxiliary invariant rule as well. So when you apply this form, you get a new, get a transformed sentence in the form of a surface structure, right? Apply the morphophonemic rule. That is the way we pronounce the word, the past of open, etc. We do not say opening, we say open, right? When you apply the morphophonemic rule, you do not say the same thing like when you add, what you use in the formula. You use in the formula en, but you say you pronounce it open ed, right? We call the present form of have simply have, and the past form of the verb to be been. So we have. So simply have is a simple form or the present form of have, and been is the past form of to be. So we have the door may have been opened by the man. We have this sentence at the surface level, and the door may have been opened by the man, like this in the form of this. After applying all these rules, etc., we get a new transformed sentence in the form of surface level. This might seem to be a very difficult, very artificial and roundabout way of deriving a passive sentence. So yes, लग रहा होगा आपको कि ये artificial और roundabout और बड़ा मुश्किल सा difficult सा होगा passive sentence, right? However, the principle is quite significant. Like principle is important. It is that complex sentences not created like simple sentences. So yes, you do not create the complex sentences like you create the simple sentences. Simple sentences are the kernel sentences are created at the deep level. Yes, we at the deep level we create some simple or kernel sentences, and they are changed to complex sentences by applying the transformation rules. This rule is intriguing because it appears to be a recipe for syntactic anarchy. Can we really move any category anywhere in a sentence? The answer is that this is a rule of universal grammar, whereas in every language there are particular rules which prevent certain kind of movements. So of course this rule is kind of intriguing because it looks a kind of syntactic anarchy or syntactic disorder, etc. Can we really move anything, any constituent in a sentence, anywhere in a sentence? But for that, the answer is that this is the rule of universal grammar. Whereas in every language there are particular rules. We do not apply all the rules in all the language, right? On all the language. In every language we have particular rules, and those particular rules prevent certain kinds of movement, right? Same as the case in English as well. In English we have some particular rule which prevent some certain kinds of movements, right? We do not always move any constituent anywhere in a sentence, because if we move randomly, we will get the ill-formed sentences. These restrictions are the ones which linguists have to find out and write down. Yes, we should find out those restrictions. Linguists should find out those restrictions and should write down. For instance, the structure must be preserved. The rule for this is written as follows. Yes, a structure should be preserved, and rule for this is written as follows. Structure preserving principle. Major grammatical transformations are either root or structure preserving operations. Yes, in the structure preserving principle, we know that major grammatical transformations are they are either root or they are either structure preserving operations. And a root transformation is one that applies to a root class. That is the main or independent class, right? This is the definition of root transformation. And a non-root transformation is one in which the transformation is such that it can be generated by the grammar in that position. So this is the definition of non-root transformation. And in non-root transformation, grammar is responsible for creating transformation in that position. In short, if we extend this principle further, we come to the conclusion that all transformation are structure preserving. Yes, all transformation, wherever we bring in the sentence, they are structure preserving. They preserve structures, right? This would make sense even if you do not go into the rather complicated arguments of linguists, because sentences would not make sense unless there were some rules to tell us how we can change them. Yes, if we do not have rules, if we, to tell the people, to tell the readers that how we brought the rules, how we generated the rules, if we do not have reasons behind the rules, so those sentences would be meaningless. They would not make any sense, right? So we should have some rules and regulation and logics uh, behind any structure. In order to understand how such arguments are given, you should read the detailed chapter on alpha movement in Radford. Yes, if you are interested in more detail, you should read this. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any question, please do ask.